Hi, Peter here for The Basic Pilot. Today I'm going to talk about gimbals. I just got a brand new one and we'll talk about that next. Gimbals are used to stabilize video. So that you can walk or run or do something crazy, moving the camera all around the place, and what you're shooting stays fairly stable. That's what gimbals are best for. Now, they come in all different shapes and sizes, and here's one for a GoPro. As you can see, no matter which way I'm moving, it's steady. I also have one on my drone. This is the gimbal part. This is an example of another gimbal. This is for my DSLR. Pretty big, heavy. There's even gimbals for smartphones. Some smartphones have image stabilization built right into them. Now, it doesn't work as good as using an external stabilizer, but it does okay. Now, today I'm going to talk about the Zhiyun Crane-M. I'm going to pronounce it Zhiyun. I'm sure that's wrong, but we're doing the best we can. Now, this costs a little bit more than my GoPro gimbal, but that's all this can do is a GoPro. Whereas my Crane can do my GoPro, my Canon G15, my iPhone with a wide-angle attachment on it, my Canon G7X II, an old M301 camcorder. One of the questions that comes up quite a bit is why do you have to balance your gimbal? Each camera has a different center of balance, and the gimbal needs to be adjusted to accommodate for that. There are 3 motors on this gimbal. There is the tilt motor, which is tilting, roll motor back here, and at the very bottom is the yaw motor, or pan. If your gimbal isn't balanced properly and the camera is like tilted down, the tilt motor has to work extra hard just to get it back level. So it's always fighting it because it wants to fall down. That's the entire object is to make sure that with the gimbal off, this gimbal is turned off, that no matter what position I put that gimbal in, it stays exactly where it is, including tilting down. This is a perfectly balanced camera and gimbal. To make it even easier, I've put on these Swiss Arca plates. I put one on the gimbal. I also have it on the cameras. All my cameras have the Swiss Arca plate on it, so I can move it between my slider or tripod or anything else that has a mount on it. There are 4 points of adjustment. There's how you attach the camera. There is the roll, tilt, and yaw or pan. There's a forward and backward down here, and there's also a side to side. What I've done is eliminated one of those points by putting the plate on. They've put little markings on every place where you can adjust something so that you can actually write it down and get back to it later. In fact, I created a spreadsheet for all my cameras so that I know exactly where to put the sled, where to put the tilt motor, the pan motor, and also the roll motor. And I can pretty much get back to any of those positions in a matter of seconds. When you first start balancing your gimbal, you want to have the camera with everything on it in a shooting position. In this G7X II, you see the lens is extended, and I've taken off any straps or anything like that. So everything's exactly the way I want to shoot with it. If, let's say, the lens weren't extended, here's what happens. The gimbal tilted backwards, so the center of balance is off. With it on, it's perfect. So you want to balance the camera and the gimbal exactly the way you want to be shooting. If I want to shoot in vlog mode, then I'll raise the viewfinder and rebalance, because you see it has a tendency to fall backwards because the center of balance is all off. I would rebalance this for the viewfinder in the up position. It's simple to do, and in fact my spreadsheet has with the viewfinder in vlog mode, with the viewfinder in normal mode. The Crane does come with this really nice carrying case, and inside is everything you'll need. Now, if you purchase from the link that I have in the description, you'll also get this tripod mount, which you see me using all the time here. And it also comes with a lens cleaning kit, I don't know why, but manuals and charging cables. It's a really nice little case, but the gimbal does have to be taken apart to be put inside. That's why I don't use it all the time. I'll usually put the gimbal directly in my backpack. Now the Crane-M uses two batteries. It uses the IMR 26500 3.7 volt 3600 milliamp battery. And they provide you with a USB charger with dual inputs. I know this might sound strange, but this gimbal I showed you earlier takes 3 batteries, but they only give you a charger for 2. I'm not quite sure what the logic is in that. This uses 2 batteries and a charger for 2. Now you can use it with 1 USB connection or 2 and it goes faster. All this fits inside the case. Because the GX7 Mark II is something I put on my Crane-M all the time, I'm going to show you how I balance that one first. I've taken my camera and I've placed a Swiss Arca plate on the bottom. I've lined it up with the front of the lens hood here so that I can always get back to that every time. If I line it up with the front, I know that this is on the same way each time. I've also put one of these, which is a Swiss Arca receiver, on the bottom. You'll see that mounted here. On the bottom, there's a couple of adjustments. There's a front and back, and there's a side to side. Once I've placed this plate on, I won't do the side to side anymore, just to eliminate one of the areas of adjustment. I would never have to adjust that unless I'm using a camera that is extremely off center, like if I use my iPhone 6s Plus with the big moment lens on it, which is quite heavy, then I might adjust this over a little bit to compensate. But other than that, I usually leave it in one position all the time. So with that, I'm going to put my GX7 Mark II and mount that on the gimbal. And this is the gimbal is turned off right now. This doesn't look like it's balanced very well. The way I do it is I'm going to adjust the bottom first. I'm going to turn this knob so that I got some forward and backward movement. Now if you hold the gimbal by the tilt base, you can feel when it's either going to fall forward or feel like it's falling forward or feel like it's falling backward. You have to feel that one. That's the only adjustment that isn't precise, because you might come back to this. So I feel this is correct, so I'm going to leave it there. But one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to turn my camera on so that the lens is extended. Because if you don't do it, you're going to balance it for the lens closed and it won't be right. Just so you know, the motors on here are powerful enough to even correct for this imbalance. All right, so let's continue on our balancing. It's falling backwards. So we're going to push it up a little bit more. Still falling backwards. Actually, we're going to let it go down. Make it a little less. All right, see, now it's a little less. So let's go down just a little bit more. And it's falling. It won't stay in any position. Now I'm going to rebalance the bottom, like I said. If you use a spreadsheet, then I know exactly where to adjust the different axes at. So that's not too bad. It's not staying in any position. So that is the axis adjustment on the side. Okay, we're getting closer now. You see it's falling backwards and this is falling forwards. So if we come down just a little bit more. Very good, very good. It's falling back just a tad. I'm going to come up just a little bit more. It looks like it's staying in most positions. So I'd say we've got this bottom. I'm going to just touch this bottom by moving it 1 millimeter forward. Okay, we've got the tilt axis and the bottom front and back movement figured out. The next thing we're going to do is the roll. The roll is pretty easy because if it's pointing this way, that means it's too heavy, so you got to push back on the roll axis. So I'm going to push back a little bit. Let's try that. Nope, still going a little bit to that side. Stays there. Stays, no, it does not stay there. So that means it's still a little bit heavy on this side, just a tad. We're going to move it maybe 1/2 millimeter. I think we got it. The last thing to do is the yaw or roll axis. Now I'm going to turn the camera sideways and I'm going to tilt down, and you see it fell toward this direction. If it goes to the left, as the direction I'm looking at it, it goes to the left, you want to push the yaw forward a little bit. Sorry, let's go back to where we were. It's still falling forward, so I'm going to push it more. That's good. And that's good. I think we have it. So now we have a balanced camera. We can put it in any position. Perfect. So now we can turn the gimbal on. Balanced. Gimbal's turned off. You notice it didn't really move. It'll just stay where you have it. Now you have a perfectly balanced gimbal, and away you can go. So as you've just seen, it's quite easy to properly balance the Crane-M gimbal. And with its 635 gram payload capacity, it can easily handle quite a few different cameras. And at that price point, it makes it an easy purchase compared to a gimbal that can only do a GoPro or a smartphone. And as always, thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Bye for now. So as you can see, it's quite easy to balance the Crane-M gimbal. Oh shoot. So as you just, it can be quite easy to balance a Crane-M gimbal. So as you've just seen, it can be quite... Bye for now. I'm looking at the wrong stupid thing. As you can see, you can easily... The Zhiyun... What the heck was that?